Am I going to want to jump out of my window?
Welcome to the DL Gaming Podcast. This week we're going to be talking about Downwell, Reus, I think, 2, and No Man's Sky. But first, my name is Christian.
I'm Bobby.
And I'm Nick, and I'm here to talk to you about a new show. It's called MTG on the DL. It features myself as the main host and my guest host, Samir. When Samir can't make the show, or unless anyone wants to vote him off the show, like Survivor, we'll get another guest in. It could be Bobby, Emilio, or another random one of my friends that wants to talk about trading cards. We have 2 episodes out. The show comes out every Thursday. We try to get it out by 6 a.m. Central Time. And come check it out. We're on Spotify, Apple, your mom's mailbox, wherever you can find a podcast. So good there.
That's pretty cool. And, you know, as a non-partisan person who knows nothing about Magic the Gathering, I thought the podcast was pretty good, Nick. I got to say, it was good.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I downloaded all that jazz music myself.
Yeah, it does kind of bring you in like a soothing way. I'm like, ooh, okay. We're talking about Magic the Gathering today. Yeah.
I was going to be like, let's do heavy metal. I'm like, that's going to alienate everybody in the beginning besides like 2 people.
Dude, and sometimes with this podcast too, I ask my friends to give like some feedback like, hey, what do you think? And they're like, I don't know about this dubstep, dude. I hate dubstep. And me personally,
the opening music's kind of assertive.
Yeah, I also don't like dub just as like a musical genre. Dubstep to me is like 2012s, but I do like our intro. I don't know. Bobby, do you have any strong feelings of intros, outros, and
No, not so much. I don't know, man. See, I feel like you're reaching for some feedback from these people. They listen to the first 2 minutes and they're like, well, I got to say something about it. I'll just talk about the intro music. Like, did they even listen to the podcast?
You're right. I have to ask them proof. Okay. Like 75.
Next time you do that, like whatever episode you give them, be like, fuck you, Greg. Just put like a little sound blurb in it. Be like, didn't you hear the part at like 5 minutes and 28 seconds? What happened? And it's like whoever you're telling the review, it's like, fuck you, Jamie.
You got to listen to this right meow. Okay. On this podcast, we ping things, and I would just like to ping that Humble Games is, quote, restructuring, according to them. According to everyone who works there, the studio is shut down because everyone they know has been fired. So I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know what really happened. Restructuring or it's closing down. So Humble Games is publisher of Temtem, Unpacking, and a new game that I think Emilio wanted to play called Bow, Path of the Teal Lotus, this side-scrolling Metroidvania. So yeah, I mean, pretty big publisher closing down. Apparently they had money issues, or apparently when they were bought, the people who bought them invested a lot of money and expected like a 6-month or a year return. And then the people working at Humble Games was like, that's not how game development works, dog. Like, we're going to get a game in 2 or 3 years, and there's no real guarantee that it is going to be like a huge success. But yeah, that's just video game development. You don't really know, and you're not, unless you're doing like a cash grab, like you're putting lots of microtransactions, all the things that we hate in video games. I don't think there's like a guaranteed return there. So someone just subbed and it was very loud. Thank you for whatever you did. I need to turn that sound off. Biblioclass, great. It's going to be on the podcast. All right, Bobby, what are you pinging this week?
So this week was Comic-Con, and living in San Diego, especially downtown San Diego, less than a mile from the convention center, it's hard not to get wrapped up in this. So, Emilio is gone at Comic-Con this week. I'm sure he'll be back next week telling us a bunch of stories about it. But a lot of the things I'm going to talk about have to do with Comic-Con. The first one being what I'm pinging today, the BioShock movie. So this has been talked about for a very long time. They've been working on it for who knows how long, but it really got some momentum, I think, back in 2022 when Netflix started working on it. So that kind of gave us some hope that this was actually going to happen. But at Comic-Con, they said that there's a new head of film at Netflix, and he has slashed the budget for this. So they put it in a much better way, though. They put a good spin on it. They said it's going to be a more personal point of view as opposed to a grander, big project. So that sounds...
That's corporate talk for... We fired a lot of people.
That's a good PR sentence.
Yeah, so we Don't know much about the movie. First of all, I'm surprised they're going with a movie and not a TV show. Especially, well, I don't know. After the success of Fallout, and even what was the other one from the game that I don't play with the mushroom people? The Last of Us. That was it.
Oh yeah, Last of Us.
Yeah, I think
The
video
mushroom
games have the mushroom.
I like that
They
description.
are mushroom people.
I like that description. Yeah.
That is my basic understanding. I went on the haunted trail ride at Universal Studios last year, so that's about all I know about The Last of Us. But I think video games have just found a lot more success in video when they've done TV shows as opposed to movies. So I'm a little surprised that they're sticking with the movie idea. But we don't know anything about this. We don't even know this setting. And there was an article on IGN that just had the details of all this, basically what I've mentioned, but they had a poll at the end of the article, which I found very interesting. They asked people, where do you want this to be set? Rapture, the underwater world from the original BioShock and BioShock 2, or Columbia, the airborne floating city, little racist place in
A little.
a little on the racist side, from BioShock Infinite. And 91% of people voted for Rapture. And if that isn't bad enough, 4% voted for Columbia and 5% said somewhere else. So Columbia, not a very popular choice.
I feel like if they did this at a show, like you said, the better plan of attack for this would be to do it as like vignettes, not as a long story, because Borderlands has like a lot of interesting characters in its history, like in like uprisings and like things that have happened, and so like you can do like a flashback to when like it was first founded and they're building the whole thing, and then you can do like another. Everything is broken up into two sections, right? Before the main character gets there, and then after the main character gets there. And right before the main character gets there, there's like a revolution where like everything goes to shit. Everyone's drug addicted. People are using like crazy powers to kill each other and stuff. But you could really do like a vignette. Like you can do a whole episode where it's just through a Big Daddy's point of view, where he, instead of becoming like a maintenance person, he's like a fucking murdering machine now. So it's like, there could be so many things done, but a movie I don't feel like is going to do nearly as good.
Yeah, I don't know.
But
I haven't played any of the BioShock games. I tried to give, I don't even know. The one set in the sky, the racist place. What's that one?
Columbia. For those, by the way, for those who've never played the game and want to know a little bit of why we keep saying the racist one, in like the first 5 minutes of the game, when you get to like Columbia, there's a giant mural that's like 40 feet tall and like 100 feet wide. And it's just like, the founding fathers, right? And then it's a mixture of like the founding fathers of America and then the founding fathers of Colombia. And then below them, holding them all up, is very extremely racist depictions of minorities, to include like black people, Asian people, Mexican people, Jewish people. Like, it is rough. So that is why we keep calling it the racist one.
I really like those games, but we've had this conversation before that we don't know if they're really that good because, you know, so much time has passed and gaming's changed. And I remember we suggested it to some listeners and they played it and they didn't really like it because I think it was Warconius who always has a listener question. He said he had never played it, which is outrageous because he's played every game. So we said, you got to play this. Let us know what you think. And he did not care for it at all, which I found very interesting. So I would kind of like to go back and play those games to see if they really hold up. I worry that they don't, but I really did enjoy BioShock Infinite, and I felt like that had more of the interesting story. The first BioShock, they had this whole like Ayn Rand thing going on, and there was a really cool twist kind of towards the end that I won't spoil. But the ending of the third one, I felt like did some really cool stuff.
You know what's funny is that not many people remember this game from, I believe, the Sony Expo from like 6 months ago, 9 months ago. It's Judas, and it's from the original BioShock director. And it looks very, very, very similar to BioShock. Like the whole like having powers and having a gun. And like the way there's like a lot of mechanical enemies. Definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's Ken Levine's new project, and it looks very much like BioShock and in the vein of everything that he's done. BioShock
Ghost
System
Story
Shock.
Games. I like that name for a development studio.
All right. So, yeah,
Sweet.
that's what I'm pinging this week. What do you got, Nick?
So Fallout London, quote unquote, got officially released. For those who were waiting for this and then got kicked in the nuts when they were waiting for it to be released, and then Fallout did that big patch after the show released, the Fallout London overhaul mod could not be installed into the new version of the game. Completely hamstrung everything in the development. There was literally no way you could make it work, no amount of modding or changing. And it was going to take another at least like 150 like business days to get it running to run on the new copy, like the new version of Fallout 4. The mod is an overhaul mod for Fallout 4 where it makes the game take place in London. And for those who are familiar with the Fallout series, the game takes place in the United States. I mean, every single game takes place in the United States, but the whole world has been nuclear apocalypsed, right? So, like, we get to see how the British have adapted to everything, how they reacted to everything, how crazy everything's over there. It's like over 150 hours of gameplay, apparently.
Wow.
A bunch of new weapons, a bunch of new enemy types, whole new environments. The aesthetic is obviously very different. Like the 1950s aesthetic for the United States is very different for the 1950s aesthetic for Great Britain. And so there's a big difference. But it officially released, and what that means is that you can actually go to GOG and buy Fallout 4 for a reduced price, and that is the copy of the game that will work with no issues with the mod. You simply rebuy it on GOG, you download the mod from the mod page, and it instantly works, apparently. You can go through the hassle of downgrading your copy of Fallout 4 on Steam, but that is apparently troublesome. People have been getting some issues, save losses, asset mixtures, and things like that for downgrading. So, yeah, apparently, like I said, apparently it's over 100 hours of gameplay, and just I'm going to check it out for sure when I have a little bit of free time. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Magic and No Man's Sky, so I'll try to get to it. Dude,
I've been seeing all these memes on social media for Fallout London. Like, I feel like it's a big thing that lots of people are into. Like, they're hyped for this. They have been hyped for this, and now everyone's having fun with it. But it's like these little memes like approaching an NPC in Fallout London, and they just like grunt to you, but in British, like in like a British accent.
Grunt British.
Yeah, exactly.
Or British grunt.
Yeah. So I don't know, just based on that, like, honestly, the social media content that I came across, I'm interested in playing the game, which usually never happens or happens very rarely. So yeah.
What's also funny is that from what I've seen in the video and some gameplay stuff for it, they've kind of tweaked the gunplay of Fallout to make it look a little smoother. I like the way it looks. Like the guns actually look like they have recoil versus like when you play in the normal game, there's very minimal recoil on any of your guns. But yeah, I'm excited to try it. Do you have that's everything on the pink section, right?
That's everything. So we're going to move on to games that we have been playing. Bob's going to start us off with Downwell.
Yeah, Downwell. You guys remember this game? It's an old one, but boy.
Was I born yet? I have no idea.
Dude, it's from 2015.
It's from 2015. It's not that old. Although the game itself does look very old because of its graphical style. This is a platformer roguelike, except the catch here is you are always moving downward. You are falling down a well. So you are Mario stomping on top of your enemies while you're doing this. You also have these boots that shoot guns, and you can get power-ups that change what kind of guns it shoots. It's a very simple game, but it's very effective. And it's only $3. This is one of those games that just was not trying to be anything big, but kind of blew up. Like, if you were playing games in 2015, you remember Downwell. It's a great little game. It's a roguelike, but you don't really unlock a whole lot as you're playing it too. You do unlock some stuff like different play styles, but it doesn't necessarily make it easier. So it's one of those roguelikes that remain challenging as you play it, and therefore I just can't seem to make it very far. I made it way further than I did the first time I played this game. I really do think I've become a better gamer somehow, like later in life. Even with a game like this, like I don't know, I have an easier time with it. It's a good time, man. And you know what I've realized, and this occurred to me a month or two ago when I was playing Spec. I really appreciate a game that doesn't have story and cutscenes and doesn't bog you down with all that stuff. I don't know. Maybe it's just like the phase in life I'm going through right now, where I just like when I play a game, I want to play a video game. I don't
give me the
game. Don't try to work in your story.
I don't care about your narrative and your cutscenes. Damn it, give me my game.
I'm not watching a movie. If I wanted to like be entertained by cutscenes, I'd watch a movie. If I wanted to like read dialogue, I'd read a book. You know, if I'm playing a video game, I want mechanics. I want to play a game. So I really appreciate that with some of these games. I always think back to, I think it was an interview, or no, it was like a commentary. It was on one of the anniversaries of the original Doom, or I'm sorry, Wolfenstein. And John Carmack was talking about the design of the game and how they wanted to make it so you would be able to start playing the game like instantaneously. You load up the game, you could hit enter like 2 or 3 times and boom, you were playing. Like that was really important to them. And I love that idea of a game where it's just like, I can just get right into it, pick up and go. And then, you know, it accommodates my fast-paced lifestyle, I guess, is what's happening here. So Downwell was a good choice for me this week.
That's good.
I don't know how much I'm going to keep playing this game because it is frustratingly hard. With these roguelikes, one of the big disadvantages to these hardcore roguelikes is if you start off the game on a bad foot, or even at any point during your when you're playing it, like if you mess up a few times, like your whole run is gone, and it's just like, well, that's no recovery from this and nothing to show for it. So I don't know. Some people like that hardcore mode, but not me. I feel like you don't see the roguelikes, the hardcore roguelikes like that too much anymore, but I'm not a roguelike aficionado here, so maybe I don't know. But I feel like most of them are easier on you. They're like, okay, you played for a long time, you unlocked this stuff, now it's going to make it easier for you. So, you know, either time or skill, there's going to be a balance there that is going to allow you to get through the game.
Nick, I have a theory about what Bobby's going through here. Ever since Heroes of the Storm sunsetted, there's this void in our poor friend's soul that just has never been, like, he can't just, it's just not the same, right? So I think Downwell and these games that are fast paced and getting you to work your twitch muscles, you know, like your reflexes, and making you a better gamer, which, you know, do you find that you were never good at platformers and now you're like kind of acing them?
I wouldn't say I'm acing them, but the big problem is I don't use controllers. I'm not good at them. I stopped using controllers before the analog stick came out, so like those are very awkward for me. So if you don't use controllers and you play platformers, that's a big problem.
Yeah, they invented the joystick when Christ was in school, so you know that just really ages Bobby here. Bobby, I think what it is I think you need a new multiplayer game to play, dude. Like a new team multiplayer game to play.
Interesting.
Have you considered like playing like Marvel Strike Force when it comes out or anything like that? Or are you just like trying whatever sticks to the wall, dude?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't want a game that I'm going to get super addicted to because I've already got plenty of those, man. Like I've got Sea of Thieves. I've got Deep Rock Galactic. Haven't been able to play much Deep Rock Galactic Survivor lately. Still trying to work my way through Thimbleweed Park. You know, I've definitely got those games, but I'm still trying to branch out and try stuff. I was going to say try new things, but this game's 10 years old and I've played it before, so.
Hey, new in the year of 2024, you know, I don't know.
It's a good reminder though. Like, let's all take a moment and remember Downwell, that $3 game. Before there were Vampire Survivor, or before there was Vampire Survivors, like there was Downwell. This game walked so vampire survivors could run.
That's cool.
Right. But no, you're very true. The games like this is what inspired new shit like Vampire Survivor and things like that. What do you got for this week's highlights, Christian?
So I played a game, Reus 2. It's this universe sim, but very wow. I should have really gave this a thought before. Basically, you're building a puzzle out of the environment as a god. I wrote here, I am nature, the universe, pure light. That's how you feel. Like the game immerses you and says, hey, these little humans are on these planets and they're kind of looking to you for guidance. So you come with these elemental titans and you change their landscape. And then depending what you do, they will interact with that landscape in synergies. So, you'll get like a banana tree and you'll place a banana tree down and the banana tree gets bonuses for every nearby tree in the plots beside it. And that will increase the food yield of that plot. And if the food yield in that plot is good, your humans will come down and they'll harvest the food and their population will grow. And the same thing for their science and their wealth, and you're building their culture. There's so many like codependencies. It's kind of difficult to explain, but the game is very good about, here's your first planet, here's like 3 trees, 4 animals, and 4 like sea creatures, some rocks, and play around and see what works, and every planet you build is like this meta progression where, okay, now I've unlocked the winter biome and I have all these new creatures for the winter biome, and now I've unlocked different mechanics and different ages that my people can go progress down. So they start as like these Neolithic humans and they get to like the medieval age, and eventually they'll get to the modern era. There's very few games that I've actually watched Rianne play, like just in our very long relationship. We're just not the kind of couple that watches each other play games. Like we always like to play together, but this is one where I sat behind her and watched her play and build her little planet. And it was so enjoyable because these codependencies are very based around tiny puzzles, and just having a sounding board of someone else, like, oh, I'm going to try this. And, oh, maybe you should put like an ostrich over there because the ostrich has this codependency with the tree and that activates the trees beside the tree. And there's like a chain of events that will be very good that isn't always evident. Yeah, I mean, I've played a lot of universe sims. This has got to be, I feel bad. I come to this podcast every week and I'm like, this is the best game. But like, this is the best game, guys. Like, I'm sorry.
You say that, but I never see these games in like the top 1,000 games of everywhere, anywhere.
Yeah.
They're usually these games that are like, me and 38 other people, we play it together. We all like maple syrup and scented candles on Thursdays.
Yeah.
And it's like,
well,
okay.
I think, well, let me put on my, I don't know, little marketing hat for a while. Sometimes the games that are popular aren't necessarily the games that are the most rewarding to play. They might be popular for a lot of other reasons.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
And sometimes there's games like this that really impress you and you're like, this reminds me of being 13 and playing like Black and White in a way simpler way, and they've they've clearly like iterated on this god sim genre, and I'm experiencing something new, but it's nostalgic. That's what I felt. So
I think me and you, we played very different games when we were 13. I was playing Dynasty Warriors and Call of Duty and World of Warcraft, and you were like, I'm God.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
no, I completely understand. Like, the games don't matter as far as like popularity go and what games you should play. It's whatever you like. There's so many games nowadays. It honestly comes down to whatever you like. But there are also games that are like an experience that you like, are cultural experiences, right? Like, I firmly believe that if you ever played a PC game, you should play Baldur's Gate 3. It's such a good game. You can get into it. I think everyone should play Minecraft. It's, once again, an amazing great game. It's obviously the number one selling game of all time for a reason, because it's a cultural phenomenon. But can everybody play a game like this? No. Should they? Probably, just to try it out and see what they like. But I think Reus 2 is definitely has a niche. From what I've been seeing in the video I just watched, it seems like a pretty good God simulator.
It is, dude, and there's like depth to this game and progression, but I can also see where it ends. You know, like I played up to 3 planets, and there's like the meta progression, and I'm clicking through. I'm like, oh, what are all the things that I can unlock? And then it ends at level 20, and I'm at like level 9 right now. So I'm like, oh, like this game also is going to respect my time in a way where I can get to an end of the game of what I'm meant to experience, and then I can move on to the next game with like some peace of mind. And a lot of these, whenever you work like a roguelike mechanic into a game, I think it's very tempting to just make it so that the goal is people can play this game forever. And I feel like very few games actually succeed in reaching that goal, but they will always attempt to throw all this stuff that you can unlock in front of you. And for me, that's a little overwhelming. I don't really, I like to see a clear end goal, you know?
Yeah, for like one example, it's very similar to that is No Man's Sky. Like what you're saying is like there's not really a goal, like an end goal. So I ended up playing No Man's Sky for I think 13 hours this week or 14 hours this week. Put a lot of time into it. A new graphical update just happened. It's the largest update the game has had in years, and it completely restructures the graphics from the game. The game is beautiful. It was pretty before, but the thing is, it's 2016 graphics and 2016 engine and everything. So it's 2024, obviously, and we have new technology. Everything's super pretty now. Everything's super detailed compared to what it was before. My computer can't run it at the highest settings for some reason, but I don't know. My computer's not crazy strong anyways. I haven't played in 2.5 years, but my friends, we play every Monday. We play games together every Monday, and it was one of our nerdy friends' turns to choose, and he chose this game, so we all hopped on, and we all got addicted again. So yeah, there's a lot of new features. There's new guns. There's new tools. There's new ships. There's new missions. There's new races of beings. There's so many new things that come to the game, and that's not even in the this most recent update, like from a week ago. It's just they've added so much stuff, and if you haven't played since release, it doesn't feel like a different game. It feels like an enhanced version of the original game. It definitely feels like, because when you first played it, you're like, okay, I get the gameplay loop. I understand it's not that alluring, especially because you could break economies in that game very, very easily. You can just have infinite money.
Yeah, that happened to someone we know and love, Amanda, when she was playing. Someone else broke the economy and was like, hey, come to my game. And after that experience, it just, from what I hear, left her feel empty inside when it came to playing this game. Like, oh, why would I play this game? Like, it's, yeah.
Because the whole point of the game, right, is it is space exploration and doing missions and exploring things to make money to get what you want out of the game, right? Do you want a bigger ship? Do you want a different class of ship? Do you want crazy weapons on your ship? Do you want to manage a town? Do you want to build robots? Do you want to build like a rover and all these other things, or a massive base? All those things are possible now in the game, and you can do whatever you want, but there's still no like hard ending that ends the game for you. Like even the ending from the original, like from the story mode now, is still like, yes, you get this cool alien shit, now go and explore. Like there's nothing really to it that like is like Finn, like everything's done. And the allure of this game when it originally released is that they were like, oh yeah, we have randomly generated planets, and there's over like 18 quintillion planets that you can explore, and if you were to start at the same time as another person, you would never really be able to find each other unless you joined each other's games directly. Like that was a big thing for this game. Like the idea that you could find a planet, make it your own, and do whatever you wanted on it. And you can do that still. And I've ran into people before, because there's now like the MMORPG aspect of the game or where you get deep enough into the game, you unlock it, and now you can see people in the open world, but it's rare. So if you do see another person, you're like, oh shit. Like,
oh,
this,
I didn't
like,
know that. So they share a server, or is it just like a ghost of them, or what? How do they make that work?
I think it's a ghost of them.
Okay.
Because I've tried talking to these people and they don't talk back. The aspect that
they just might not like you,
called,
dude. No,
that could be that could be it. I mean, I've only ever done it twice. There's like this new thing. It's called the Nexus, which is like this giant floating space orb that you can go into, and that you can chat to people very easily. You can message them and stuff like that. And that is like this hub where the story kind of reconvenes around, is this thing called the Nexus. You can still play the game without multiplayer. You can play offline. You still go to the Nexus if you play offline. You use all the resources there. But there, like I said, the game has gone through a huge overhaul. If you've never played it before and you want to play a space exploration game and you're more into like science oriented stuff, because you're like mining cobalt and like dihydrogen and like a bunch of other minerals, and you combine them to make things like other resources, and use those resources to build like ship parts and stuff like that. It is all science exploration. The other thing is that they have made some of the animals be aggressive now, which is a bitch, because originally in the game, essentially all animals were passive. The only enemies in the game were really these robots called Sentinels, and they had like 3 forms. Now the Sentinels have like, I think 5 or 6 forms, but like there's natural fauna that wants to kill you all the time. What's insane is like there's like videos of people, because everything's randomly generated. There's like a base kind of like in Spore, where like this is obviously an invertebrate species, this is obviously a vertebrate species, like, and things like that. There's a random generation where like it's for size, right? You can find animals that are like the size of your thumb, and you can find animals like, I don't know, 400 feet long and like 50 feet tall. And there's like videos of this guy, like, and other people as well, where like these like space worms will be just jumping through the earth, and it like plays the Dune music as it goes through. But they look more like manta ray worms, as weird as that sounds. But yeah, it's a great game. It's on sale right now for I believe 10% off, or what is it at right now? But check it out. It's $23.99, so it's 60% off.
Wow, that's crazy. I want to play this game, Nick, just based on what you were saying. And this new graphical overhaul, I think I went to beer with this other game developer, and he's like, I'm pretty sure they're working on Light No Fire, and they're bringing things that they're doing from Light No Fire into No Man's Sky, which I think is like so...
Yes.
It's like counterintuitive to what we might think of when a studio is making a sequel, and like they're saving stuff for us, and they don't want us to like, these new mechanics, we're going to keep them under wraps, and then we're going to surprise them. They're kind of like, let's test these mechanics out and these new things
on a platform we already have.
And No Man's Sky, see how they like it, and then put that into... I think that's pretty smart. I don't know.
One thing I will say is the game is extremely fun to play, especially if you have like an hour to 2 hours of time to play it, because there's things like, okay, I need to go mine cobalt and hydrogen and oxygen to do these things, but that might require me to change planets or go to another star system, which can take like 6 minutes to get the fuel to do that, and things like it's not like a pick up and go kind of game. It's not a Binding of Isaac. It's not any kind of dad kind of game where you just can start and end really quickly.
It's no Downwell.
it's no Downwell, you get one life for 8 minutes and you're done. But what I will say is the game's fun to play. This is where the negative part of the review comes in. It is No Man's Sky has been and will be always a little buggy. And I'll give you a key example. I was doing the side mission. It was it's like 15 steps in the side mission, which is pretty long. And one of the moments was talk to the Sentinel. It gives you coordinates. Go to those coordinates and defeat the thing that's there and harvest its brains, right? When I did that, what ended up happening was that I went towards the coordinates, and as soon as I got like a third of a light year away from it, it said the objective was behind me. And so I turned my ship around, and I thought maybe there was another planet or something, and I like overpassed it somehow, and it said it was on a different planet. So I started going towards the planet, As soon as I get even closer, it says it's behind me again. And it kept doing that over
The
and
game
over
is
and over
fucking
again.
with you too.
And I was getting mad, dude. I was like, I'm gonna scream at this.
Well, playing with your friends.
And I told my wife, because it was like 25 minutes of me trying to fix this shit.
That's not fun. Yeah.
And what did I ended up having to do is I had to exit the game, close completely shut my computer down and validate files. And that still barely worked. I had when I got close to it, the objective marker disappeared, but it wasn't anywhere else. And there's a feature in this game where you use scanning goggles where it tells you where the next objective is. It just doesn't tell you directly. It's it's in this general area, and then it worked. So, yeah, great game, $23. Buy it, play with your friends, or play solo.
But watch out, it could fuck with you if it doesn't like you. I think the game heard you try to talk to other people, and it was like, this motherfucker.
I was like, do you have any magnesium?
Yeah.
And they were like, get away from me, nerd.
All right, cool. That's it for No Man's Sky.
I'll be right back.
Nick? All right, he's leaving. Bobby,
that's
any
it.
wishes to play No Man's Sky, a game that I don't think respects your time? It's the antithesis to where you might be at your life.
I don't know. I hated the idea of this game when it first came out, and hated it even more that it was so incomplete when it first came out. And I know it's made a lot of improvement since then, but I had a similar experience to Days where I was just playing and somebody just ruined the economy, and then I was just like, what's the point? Also, a lot of they boasted, there was this really popular thing that developers seemed to be doing 10 years ago when this game came out, where it was just they were really using the procedurally generated whatever to make these games, and they were always talking about how many different worlds and how many different areas and everything's so different. And then when you play the game, it's just all the planets look the same. This one's blue, that one's purple, this one's got a rock there, that one's got a rock over there. It really just wasn't all that different. I think the game's made a lot of improvements, but I don't know. I don't know if I have the patience to revisit this game again, because, like Nick was saying, he spent 14 hours playing it this week. I mean, that's the kind of time you need to commit to a game like this to really get the full experience.
I hope that new game, I should, Hyper Strange, is that the 4-player co-op space game that's similar to Pulsar Lost Colony? I think we talked about it on the podcast.
They changed the name of it. I'm trying to remember what to. Yeah, I think it was Hyper something.
I hope that is a game where you can jump in with your buds, and it has maybe the expansionness of No Man's Sky, but kind of more direct, and the feeling of Pulsar Lost Colony, where you could just really easily go and do content together and have a pretty good time. And content would also find you, pirates and stuff would find your ship, and you would jump into a system, and there would be a choice, do we want to destroy this innocent ship and board it, or do we want to be good people and not do that, or deliver biscuits and whatever else was in that game? So
you can do all of that in No Man's Sky.
Okay, how much are they paying you, Nick? You on Sam Murray's payroll? Is that the lead developer, I think?
$58 and a large pack of Oreos.
Okay. One day I'll tell you guys and this podcast how I eat Oreos and disgust everyone, but not right now. Right now, I want to say that this section was brought to you by Zap in our Discord. He says, glad a lot of Microsoft studios are unionizing. Hopefully they can fight this AI bullshit. I agree, Zap. Thank you for saying that. If you want to give your opinion on AI bullshit or unionizing in the video game industry, come on down to the Discord and say hi. And, we'll be glad to talk to you and have a good time. On the radar, so this is games that have caught our attention, but that we haven't played. Bob is going to start us off with Mortal Kombat 1. That seems like an old game, dude.
No, they did the thing where they had... They made it so far into the Mortal Kombat or into the series that they just said, let's redo it. Let's start back at 1.
What? That can happen? I had no idea this could happen. We went to
Battlefield
12
1.
and now we're back to 1. Oh, okay.
Battlefield 1 was supposed to be a play on World War One.
Well, typically what they'll do is they'll just call it Battlefield or something. They'll just take the name. They'll leave out any any number at the end of it. But yeah, this is actually a DLC, Khaos Reigns. It's the second DLC for Mortal Kombat 1. I don't play this game, although it had some interesting things in it. It expands the story. It's got new characters, including Conan the Barbarian, the T-1000, and Ghostface from the movie Scream, which I thought was interesting. I like how they work in these other characters. But the big thing that I wanted to bring up is, for the first time in almost 30 years, they're bringing animalities back to Mortal Kombat. They haven't had these since Mortal Kombat 3, I believe, which was 1995. This is where the character turns into some sort of animal and then does a finishing move on their opponent. They showed a few of them in the trailer here, most notably the T-Rex skeleton was pretty cool, and also a character turned into a pufferfish, went inside somebody and then puffed up and blew them up. They always have fun with those games. I'm kind of surprised that I don't know why they waited to do this now, because Mortal Kombat 11 brought back the babalities and the friendships, which we hadn't seen since, I don't know if those were in Mortal Kombat 3 or not.
The babalities? Babalities?
Oh boy.
Yeah, you turn people into...
Turn into what? Do I want to know?
You explain it.
I mean,
What?
It's not that. So, all right, little history lesson here, because apparently Christian's not familiar with the Mortal Kombat
I'm in class.
franchise.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's go.
So Mortal Kombat came out and they had these things called fatalities where you could do these finishing moves. They were super
Right.
gory. And then when the second one came out, it was like bigger, better, more characters, all sorts of things. And they introduced all these new things. So instead of doing the fatalities, they brought in babalities, where you turn your enemy into a baby. Now, you could only do that finishing move, I believe, if you never blocked during the fight. So there was a requirement. And then also, because the game had got so much criticism over its violent content, especially back then in the 90s, they made a finishing move called Friendship, where you just make a rainbow and the word friendship comes up. And nothing happens.
That's hilarious. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the new ones, they you shake hands or high five and a bunch of other shit. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, and then there were brutalities, I think. Am I right on this? I was more of a Street Fighter
Yes,
guy.
there was brutalities. There was all kinds of different fatalities. There was I can't remember them all.
Yeah.
There was a deliciality where you would turn people into food or stuff
And
like
eat
that.
them?
It was,
oh my God. I feel like this game is doing a
it got
lot for
pretty
people's
crazy.
niche fantasies. I always wish I could turn someone into food and eat them, and Mortal Kombat is finally delivering on that.
It was a big deal when you saw someone do it in the arcade, because nobody knew how to do these. The internet wasn't that big where you could just look things up. You had to know
Right.
the combination of buttons to press, and you had to be able to execute it as well. So if you saw someone do it in the arcade, you're just like, wow, that's
Teacher.
pretty impressive.
What's an
Yes.
arcade? What? Just joking.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm sorry.
What's funny is the way you would find out how to do it would be you would need to buy a copy of Cheat Code Central, which was a magazine that had literal cheat codes for games like GTA 3 or GTA 2. But they also had how to do the fatality as Jax and Mortal Kombat 3. And you're like, oh, fuck, this is cool.
Yeah.
But they would be $3 at GameStop.
Yeah, you could buy
Little history lesson.
player guides, and sometimes they'd have it in magazines. I used to subscribe to Game Player magazine. Man, I love that magazine. When that came in the mail, yeah, cover to cover.
Oh no,
those
we're
were the
nostalgia
days.
casting hard, dude.
My mom used to call those toilet magazines. She's like, we're just going to put them in front of your toilet because I know you're never going to read them outside of there. And I just poop them oh, look, a new Zelda's coming out. Look at that. And then I'd be like, all right, we'll put that back in the basket. We're all
That's
good.
something I have in my
Splattered
household.
magazines going back in the basket.
I brought back the Pooh magazines. What do I have? A National Geographic. I have a PC Gamer. I don't know if any guest actually reads them, but I like to think they look at them with fondness in their soul. Maybe they're not meant to touching. They're decor these days.
Yeah. No, they're definitely getting splashed. That's what's happening, man. They're just sitting there. Nobody's reading them, and they're getting, and people with a strong stream are splashing toilet water on them.
I don't invite anyone over with a strong stream. I bet those people.
No strong streamers in my house, baby.
Yeah, you be outside. Don't go to the toilet.
I need to hear you piss before you come in my house. I don't want you in here.
I have the decibel reader. I'm like,
Oh,
okay,
boy.
please pee. Please be.
All right. So last thing on Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns. This expansion is $50, which seems kind of high. Now that doesn't even include the base game. So you have to have the base game, then another $50 for this expansion. It includes stuff that was in the first expansion, but I don't know if you get a discount if you already own the stuff in the first expansion. I don't know. Like a lot of these DLCs with especially console games, the pricing is very confusing. But yeah,
it's the new pricing for console games, especially Mortal Kombat 1 or any of the Mortal Kombat series, they openly announce, they're like, when we release a new Mortal Kombat, there will be at least 5 DLCs and they will be $40 to $50 each. And people are like, God damn, but people buy them, dude. Like the people who play Mortal Kombat and like continuously play it are hardcore. They want every single fighter, all this other shit. They want all the cosmetics. They're usually pretty sweaty people. It's not like some people that jump in and out of Street Fighter or jump in and out of other games. Don't get me wrong, Street Fighter has its hardcore people as well. But usually people who like Mortal Kombat stick to it. So
yeah, there might be other options just to buy like the individual characters or the pieces of the expansion that you want as opposed to the whole thing. But yeah,
$50 for the puffer fish. Yeah, it does seem pretty pricey. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Christian, what you got? Dungeons and Kingdoms?
Dungeons and Kingdoms. So this developer reached out to us and they said, hey, we noticed that you like, this is a bad brain day for me. Nick, what's that game that used to be 3-person?
Manor-Lords?
No, it's like a voxel, turn-based exploration, RPG, roguelite. It used to be with 3 players, and the big thing is now it's with 4 players. And like the trailer had 3 players, and then it zoomed out, and there was like a 4th player, and that's how they announced that there was going to be 4 players. You know what I'm talking about?
I do not. I'm sorry. I have no clue what you're talking about.
We all played this game. And we talked about it on For the King. Yes.
Oh, For the King.
My brain has been restored.
Yes.
My brain has been restored. Anyway, so
humanity restored.
Yeah, so this game looks like For the King visually, but it's looks like a mix between a Souls-like game because of the combat and like Mount and Blade, where you are controlling this group of fighters and you're building up your holdings as the lord of this region. So I mean, that's a pretty good pitch to me because I don't know if I have time for Mount and Blade. It seems like something that takes a lot of hours to get to maybe the most fun parts of the game. And just the visual style of this game looks a lot more digestible. So I'm assuming maybe the content is also a little bit more digestible, maybe a little bit more simple than Mount and Blade. And it got me, you know? I'm like, yeah, I think I would love to play this game.
So I also got to take a look at it. It looks like a mixture of those games as well, but with a little bit of Manor-Lords in it, as far as like synchronicity of like your cities and stuff like that and being able to walk through them. The one thing I will say is that the combat is a little like Dark and Darker, where it seems like not every action is immediate. It's more like a methodical kind of combat. It's not first person. From what it looks like, but the thing is, like, it seems like every swing counts, right? It seems like when you are dodging something, if you actually get hit by an enemy attack, it's gonna do a lot of damage. It seems like when you do hit things successfully, especially if you hit them in a critical zone, it's really important. I'm actually really intrigued by this game. I can't wait for it to come out. I can't see anything wrong with it right now. I had to get my hands on it, and then I can probably do like a little review for the podcast.
Yeah, cool. So I'm excited for this too. We have the developer's email, folks, so hopefully we can take a look at it. Yeah, that's Dungeons and Kingdoms on Steam, which was just announced on Wednesday, I believe.
Nice.
And
very nice.
Nick, what are you talking about? What's on your radar?
So I do love me some turn off your brain games, which are games that you literally just shoot things or blow up things for hours on end. And there is a very comedic game from Japan. It's called Earth Defense Force, and it's very much silly in every way possible. You fight giant bugs. Essentially, your characters are like anime characters, but in the military. There's a class where like you have a jetpack and you have like anime hair. There's another class where you like build mechs or like summon tanks. There's another class where you're a giant suit of armor that's like 10 feet tall and a huge minigun. And then there's like your normal soldier class. It is such a kooky game that you can play and really get lost in for hours. It's 4-player co-op. You can play by yourself and then have AI as the partners. You usually fight giant bugs, but apparently they've introduced like these lizard creatures and squid creatures, as well as some cybernetic enemies. Everything's like 20 feet tall, like and giant monsters, and you're just a little human with a bunch of crazy guns.
I would love to play this game right now, dude. This game looks like good fun. I think this game has the kind of balls to not stop their numbering. Like they'll go to 27. It'll be Earth Defense Force 39. You know, it's not going to
exactly. It's like Dynasty Warriors. They're gonna get to 500 eventually. Like, well, it'll be that's year 2080. I mean, 2800, but they'll get there. What's also interesting about this game is like there's a lot of ragdolling and juggling and things like that. Like you can make like ants be juggled in the air with like an airstrike or whatever. One of the main draws to this game is how the weapon systems work. Whenever you play or fight or whatever, and by the way, it does not take itself seriously. The game trailer is an advertisement for the Defense Force.
I'm watching the game trailer.
This was like
now.
Helldivers comedy before Helldivers.
Dude,
by the way,
it looks pretty funny. It's getting me a giggle. It got me a giggle.
The way the main draw is that all the guns are random as far as like what they are and what they can and can't do. Like, for example, there's this rocket launcher that was like an Earth Defense 5 where the lock-on time was 40 seconds and it fired a rocket that was like literally went like 8 miles an hour. But when it made contact, it did like 1 million damage. But like it could be interrupted by like another bug, or it could be interrupted by like a building. So it was like essentially the worst thing in the world. But if you just managed to do it, it would pretty much kill everything within like a half-mile radius.
Nice.
But there's all kinds of stuff. There's like a sniper rifle it's essentially a machine gun, but the bullets won't penetrate anything. Like the guns are essentially randomized. It's pretty fun.
Cool. Yeah, it looks like a hilarious game.
What I will say is that if I had a little bit lower price tag, I'd probably pick it up right now. If it was like $40, I'd pick it up in a heartbeat. But I don't know about $59.99.
Dude, it's $79 Canadian. Oh my god, I'd have to work in the snow mines for years to pay that. That's pricey, dude. That's a lot. Yeah,
it's a smidge pricey. I'm not gonna lie, it's a smidge pricey. But if I see this on the summer sale, I'm picking it up. This is gonna be my choice for the Monday night game for me and my friends for sure.
Dude, summer sale's over.
Yeah,
I'm just saying the next one, next summer, a year from now.
Okay.
Wait for the update next year. We got new listeners for the whole year.
Dude, you're planning ahead. That's great. You're like, next year I'm going to play this.
But then everyone's going to be playing Earth Defense Force 7.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, fuck, you got me, dude.
Think about that. More ragdoll, more gun, more big. Cool. Well, I think it's time to move on to the game where you make money by guessing a video game sound. Guys, there's $35 in the pot this week. You guess by emailing pixelshitshow@gmail.com. And this is the sound that you are guessing. Find the soundboard. Hello. Like a space jackhammer. I don't know. What's going on here? Who could know? This week, we have a guess by Warconius. He's a patron, so he gets 2 guesses. And he says MechWarrior 3 Gauze Cannon Fire or MechWarrior 3 Pulse Cannon Fire. He's on the cannons and the mechs here. I don't know. What do you guys feel about this?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's I think it might be. I think it's very much in the mech genre. I think we got lasers or cannons, something like that. So,
well, we know it's in the mech genre. We know it's from the 90s. So I'm assuming Warconius did his research. MechWarrior 3 is from the 90s. Could be.
Yeah. After the last hint, we had quite a few guesses coming. I think we have a lot of researchers, but unfortunately, Warconius.
That is correct.
That is not correct. Don't listen to the soundbite. Not correct. It was a wrong guess that you did. Please think about how you got here, learn from your mistakes, and come back next week where there'll be $40 in the pot. And Nick and Bobby have a chance to help you now with a fun little game. Meow, 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 meow. The game is, I've been saying meow this episode, and I want you guys to guess how many times I've said meow, counting all the times I just said meow, including that time. It's a number, and if you get that number right, I've written them down. And
9.
9? Okay.
Seems pretty high. Well, you just said it 3 times, and then you said it again.
And I said meow, 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 meow.
Like, are we including the times that
meow?
Yes.
You said it in an explainer?
Probably snuck one in the beginning of the show,
you guys
too.
fucking getting all these hints. Okay, it's gotta be difficult.
All right. Well, if he's going 9, I'm going to go a little lower than that. I'll go 7.
God, you were so close. I have 10 little check marks on my thing. So, unfortunately, folks, no more hints this week for you. The current hints that have been unlocked are mech and 90s. So send your guess in, pixelshitshow@gmail.com. Win $40. Use those hints to narrow it down. And we'll do another guess next week. Emilio, subs and donos. He's not here. I don't know. Who does it?
Guess
I'm
that's
lost. Okay. Big Body Tonka 3 gave us 6 months of subs in one donation. Thank you, dude. Super appreciated. Also, Biblioclasm donated earlier in the show 100 little biddies, 100 little Twitch biddies. It was very loud, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to remove that from the final show. So thank you, Biblioclasm, for putting my butt into gear on changing those sounds up for like donations and stuff on stream.
They're pretty old, yeah.
Cool. Listener questions, Bobby. What do we got this week?
We've got a few of them. Let's start with Time Killer B. He asks, what's one game you 100% completed? Achievements, trophies, and all.
This city builder called Kingdoms and Castles. There were all sorts of like build a tower 100 blocks high and all these like, I don't know, fun things they wanted to make you do. The game was, I think I got to 100% in around 20 hours of gameplay, which for a city builder was cool. And yeah, it's one of those city builders that is a little bit tinier in scope and has an end to it, which I appreciate. So yeah, Kingdoms and Castles, folks.
This is a hard question for me because here's the thing. I've had 2 PlayStation accounts, and that is the stuff that I usually use to like track when I had an infinite amount of time essentially and what I 100%ed. I know one game for sure that I 100%ed without a doubt because I remember the last trophy taking me like 6 hours to get. Was Call of Duty World at War, which is a World War II Call of Duty from like I think like 2009. I got a platinum trophy. I was super happy. Platinum trophies in PlayStation meant you got every other achievement besides that one. So yeah, it was a fun game. Obviously, once again, had a like infinite amount of time. That's my answer.
There's some games out there that only have 1, 2, maybe 3 or 4 achievements. I don't think we're counting any of those ones. The only one that I can think of that's worth mentioning is Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I appreciate that game because it is a Far Cry game, but it is an abbreviated version of a Far Cry game. I just think I stopped playing the Far Cries after 4, but I mostly did that just because they got too bloated. There's too much to do. And some people can, God bless them, they can ignore all the side quests and distractions. But me, I'm just like, I've got to do everything. And then it just becomes overwhelming. So I really appreciated how Blood Dragon was just like this small little experience. It's like in 7 hours, you can beat it and you can do everything. And it looks fantastic. It's got that 80s theme and some great voice actors. Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon, best Far Cry game. No contest.
Dude, it really is one of the best games, even though it is that tiny. I love that game.
Yeah, it came out shortly after 3, and that was 3. They've really switched up the type of game that Far Cry was. I mean, 2 was like their first stab at that whole open world thing, but I think they really perfected it in 3 and then followed it right up with Blood Dragon. And then after that, everything was more the same, just different setting.
Yeah, it was essentially like an ice cream sundae. They just kept having toppings added on it, but eventually the ice cream melted and nobody wanted to eat it.
Huh.
That's the best analogy I can come up on the cuff. So, yeah.
Cool.
I don't know where the new Far Cry game is going to be at, but it's hard to make a game just interesting based on location alone. And I'm pitching Far Cry, 7? Far Cry 7, Cincinnati. Let's go.
Cincinnati. Let's fuck it up.
All right. Next question from Yuke. He asks or demands that we explain the 82% reaction on this server. I'm not in on the joke.
Should
Oh,
we
boy.
I don't know. Some jokes are better unexplained. You know, are we opening JJ Abrams' mystery box right on the podcast for everyone?
Yeah, I don't know. And I feel like the 82% meme never really caught on too. So it's like a failed joke, really. It's this vestige of the of our past that just still lingers around today. And I think I'm the only one that uses it. The 82% thing started, it was something that I came up with because it seemed like every single game was rated 82%. It's kind of my way of like poking fun at not really game journalism, but rating games, because everything just gets an 82, which what does that tell you? When a game's 82, it's just like, yeah, it's kind of good, but there's some problems with it. And that's just like literally every game out there. So I don't know. The 82% is just like our joke of saying like, because there's a icon or a emoji for 100%, right? So it's done in the style of the 100% emoji, but it's 82%. So that's the running joke was that we rate every game we play 82%.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like the safest review to give a game. You know, like this game isn't perfect, but I still really enjoyed it. I can't say it's perfect, so I'm going to give it an 82.
Well, that too. Yeah, that applies
Okay.
as well. It's just like,
All
it tells you nothing. Like you give that review because you have nothing useful to say, and then you get that review and it tells you nothing. So it's just like the uselessness of rating games on a percentage system. All right, next question from Atom. What recent game has gotten you to start flaming each other within the first 10 minutes of the game? Currently, it's Chained Together for me and my friends.
100%. It's the latest game that definitely fucking got me to yell at my friends immediately. It will definitely kick you in the nuts and make you want to fucking not be friends anymore. But eventually you hit a stride, and then one of your friends that you know is the worst at the video game will fuck up, and then you're like, we got you, motherfucker. We got video of it now. Me and my friends were running, and funny enough, my co-host for the MTG on the DL podcast also like plays with us. His name's Samir. Literally, we were joking, right? We were like, well, this is where Samir's going to get us all killed. And we were running, and like after the first 30 seconds, he got us killed, and we were like, motherfucker! And I was like, why did I not have shadow play enabled? I was so mad.
Oh, that's awesome.
I turned it off for some like super graphically intensive game.
Yeah.
And I got to re-enable it for everything.
Steam has a built-in recording software that I was exploring because Shadowplay was doing something where it was telling me all this footage was being saved, and I went to the folder and none of it was there, and I was very angry. And so I was testing out the Steam one, and there's like options. It'll automatically like duck Discord audio if you want that. And it'll automatically include Discord audio if you want that, which I think most of the time, the stuff that we are putting out there, maybe we would want Discord audio because it depends on the reactions of other people we're playing with. So it seems super robust. There's like a little editor in Steam that you use to cut up your clips. I was like, oh, this is cool. This is nice. So yeah,
Does
if
it
you're out there,
separate the audio tracks?
I didn't try ducking the audio, so I'm not 100% sure how it's doing that, but I did see the option to toggle that, and I assume it would be like another menu and you had to add the application that you're ducking Discord. So yeah.
Very cool.
It it is, dude. Editing that shit sometimes is a pain in the butt. So I would definitely love some assistance with like the ducking of audio and stuff.
Yeah. Steam, it's in beta. You can opt in. You just have to put in, go to your Steam account, go to the betas, and then opt into like the experimental version of Steam, which I didn't even know was a thing I could do. Me testing Steam for Valve? Yes, I would love to do that,
Valve, give me a job, please. Appreciate it. This is my resume.
For the question at hand, I exist on the pleasure of others. I don't like making other people uncomfortable or angry at me. That makes me feel bad. And when we played Phasmophobia, I got the quick feeling that I was really getting on Nick's nerves. I was existing in a space where
I've changed. Okay, I've changed. I'm sorry.
Like very quickly, I could tell that this guy's not fucking around when it comes to Phasmophobia. He's here to assign ghosts names and get the fuck out with all the money. So I would say that's the last game where I didn't flame. I was flamed. I feel like I was flamed by Nick.
Completely deserved. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. No, I have turned into a less sweaty Phasmophobia player. What I will say is, apparently for the first time ever, me and my friends completed the weekly mission. We made $5,000 and leveled up 3 times, and we were like level like 40 something. We are going to be doing those weekly missions from now on, like every week. So
yeah, they get you. Weekly missions. Okay, my response to this question, I believe there's video out there of us playing Lethal Company. I'm less amused with the performance of my teammates.
I forgot about that.
That's so fucking funny, dude. I was watching that the other day and I was laughing. I was like, he's so pissed. Guys, we got to look at the map. Nick running in there with the stop sign, just dying immediately. Yeah.
Oh boy,
that shit was so funny. I remember Emilio falling off the ship. He's like, ah! He's like, I wonder if there's fall damage. We're like, nope.
All right, maybe we can link that clip in Discord so everyone knows what we're talking about. Next question from Warconius. The Fallout London mod just launched. I haven't tried it yet, but it looks impressive. Have you ever played a single player mod that was better than the core game? Like every Bethesda game?
No. Yeah. The thing is, there's not that many mods like that I know off the top of my head. And I've only ever played maybe like 4 overhaul mods like that. None of them that have been way better. You know what? That's a lie. Daisy. Daisy is an overhaul mod for Arma 3, and it was definitely better than Arma 3. So there you go.
Cool. The Stellaris had this Star Wars overhaul mod that let you enter like the politics of the Senate right at the start of the Clone Wars, and could take you all the way to like the rise of the Empire if the player who was playing the Republic decided to go down that way. It was meant to be a multiplayer mod, but they did get AI working, so you could basically, experience the Star Wars story unfold from episode 1 to like the expanded universe events. And that was at the time better than that version of Stellaris. Stellaris has come a long way. It's like almost completely changed like how the game is played, and the importance of planets and where you build structures and the combat everywhere. So, but at the time, that Star Wars mod put a lot of extra stuff in Stellaris that people enjoyed. So yeah.
Sweet. What's the next question?
All right. We've got another one from Warconius. He asks, have you guys been using Game Pass lately? I've really fallen off of it. Recently, the lineup has been pretty dull.
I actually just asked all my friends this day before yesterday. We were picking up Master Chief Collection to play multiplayer online, like for Halo. And everyone's like, well, what version are we playing? I'm like, I'm not touching the Xbox version. Didn't we buy it on Steam to prevent this from happening again? And yeah, it turns out that all like 7 friends that I talked to, none of them use Game Pass anymore. And yeah, it's kind of, I don't know if that's like an overall trend. I would not think so with a sample size of 7, but I wonder if we can get the official numbers on like people who are still using it versus what it was like before. Because from my understanding, for some of the people that I've talked to outside of my own friend group regarding Game Pass, their library is like Netflix now, where it's just getting cut and pasted in, and other shit's being removed before you can finish it sometimes, and things like that. So
I've heard the take of people who are more knowledgeable about the gaming industry than me that because Microsoft is such a huge company and has all this money from all the other things that they do, not including gaming, that Game Pass is not a sustainable, profitable model for them. It's them trying to overtake market share with all the money that they've accrued, selling Windows and everything else that they do. And if we want game development to not be affected by this new model of subscription-based content, that buying your games on Steam or buying them directly from the developer is the only way to sustain the industry in the long run. Like Xbox Game Pass is probably not going to be here forever because Xbox Game Pass doesn't make Microsoft money. So I don't know. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to live their life, but just consider that they are tacking on this monthly subscription to you, and what value are you getting? Are you really using it, or is this a way for you to just give Microsoft some dollar bills?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious if you look at this historically, and I don't want to speak for all gamers, but I will. We don't want to we don't want to pay subscription fees for video games. We want to buy games. We want a one-time purchase fee to purchase a game and then never play it. That's how we handle video games. We don't do subscription fees. Like, they're very averse to that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I haven't really used Game Pass that much since the beginning, but I am. You have to have their Xbox app, which is kind of tied to Game Pass, to play Sea of Thieves. And I'm really wondering how that's going to play out for me, because I'm probably going to be reinstalling Windows this week. I've just been having so much trouble with Windows 11 that I'm going to do an unattended install of Windows with just like all the stuff ripped out, like a bare bones installation, like all the bloatware removed, including the Xbox app. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to play Sea of Thieves without that. So that's something I got to look into and figure out. But yeah, Game Pass, never really a fan. Not surprised that it's not doing well. And like Christian said, it was never really, I don't think it was intended to make money. It was intended to get market share.
Yeah.
All right. Next question from Zap. Your house is on fire and you have time to grab 3 things. Your family and pets are safe. What are you taking?
If from my insurance and what I have, I'm only taking important documents, like ways to get a new anything, right? And I have those all in one area. I would not take my computer. I wouldn't take my models. None of those things, because insurance is going to cover that shit for sure. Fuck, I can't think of it too many other things, actually, now that I think about it. Now that you said my family and my pets are okay. So.
Yeah, that would be my primary concern. I have a pair of banana underwear that I really think is comfy, and I do wear it in stressful and I don't think they're lucky, but it's nice to be supported in all the proper ways in a stressful situation. And so I'd probably hopefully snag that banana underwear. My cash.
What about your hot dog on a stick? What about your hot dog on a stick shirt?
Oh, you're right. I gotta take the hot dog on a stick shirt, dude. God, how could I forget? Yeah, so the banana underwear, the hot dog on the stick shirt, and I have this note by my computer of Rianne wrote "I love you" on a note, and I like that, so I would probably take that as a close third to the banana underwear and the hot dog on the stick shirt. Yeah.
Going the sentimental route.
Yeah, why not?
Okay.
I'm only the sum of my things,
Actually,
Bobby, you know?
I know one thing I would take, my wife's laptop, because getting things done nowadays through a phone is annoying as shit. And a laptop is a lot more mobile, and I can't be lugging around a desktop.
I think I could grab my desktop and carry that out. The TV would be a little more difficult. I don't have that many things, to be honest. So I don't know. Nothing that can't be replaced. I do not live in fear of fires, though. I have, in the place where I live, it's very small, and I have sprinklers everywhere. I have a closet that I could barely fit into. Like it's so small. I don't know if I could physically fit into it. There's a sprinkler inside that closet. There's a sprinkler, like just this place has so many sprinklers. I would have a lot of water damage. I would never have fire damage though. So fire would not be a problem. All right. Last question from Zap. What's your mother's maiden name? Who was your favorite teacher in high school? And what was the name of your first dog? Asking for a friend.
Meow, 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 meow. You won't get my information, Zap. You know, when I first saw you ask this question, I started writing stuff down. I was like, oh, this is a fun little share thing. And then I was like, wait, no, this is not a fun share thing.
This is not a joke.
I don't know if they ever use the mother's maiden name for the security question anymore. And you don't see a lot. Well, I guess you do, but the security question isn't nearly as popular as just like a multi-factor authentication these days.
Yeah.
Which you should be using if you're not. If you're not, you're crazy.
Yeah, you potato brains. Use multi-factor authentication.
All right. Looks like that is all our questions this week. Let's talk about what we're playing next week. I mentioned I am going to be reinstalling Windows. We'll see how that goes. So I've got to go through.
That's a game in itself.
That's going to be quite a journey. Continue to play Thimbleweed Park, and then we'll see something new. What about you, Christian?
I, for the first time in some episodes, don't have a game that I've lined up. So take a look around at my library. You know, you're inspiring me going back to a game from 2015. And pretty like around once a year, I like to go back to Medieval 2 Total War and download one of the mods because they never stop working on these mods and they always make the game better. So maybe some Medieval 2 Total War, and I'll take a look at the mod list and see what's new and go from there.
Why don't you play No Man's Sky?
Oh, good counter argument. I don't have a reply to that right now. I'll think about No Man's Sky.
I'll think
sure.
of an excuse later.
I don't like games other people enjoy. There you go.
No, your pitch for No Man's Sky actually, you know, I could see myself doing. I'm intrigued by this limitless sandbox that they've managed to populate with interesting things. Like 5 years later, 4 years later.
Sometimes it's not interesting. Sometimes they're not interesting, by the way. So since the last time I played, and this will be the last conjecture I'll mention about the game, is that I got these new engines that let me go to let me go to solar systems with red stars. And I went there, I'm like, this place is a giant piece of shit. There's no space station here. There's no traders. There's nothing. I'm like, why the fuck am I here? And it turns out like, oh, you can just get one type of mineral in red star systems that you need for other shit. So I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. But not every red star system's like that. Not every green star system is like that. But there's a couple of other ones that are pretty interesting. But yeah, check it out. As far as myself, I'll be playing the new Magic the Gathering expansion that comes out on Tuesday. I went to the pre-release, hear about it on the podcast, MTG on the DL. Me and my friend Samir. He's rich. I'm broke and stupid. I'm loud. He's quiet.
It's a great dynamic you guys have. I love it.
Thank you. That's our friendship. There's been so many times in our friendship where that's come up. It's like we've gone to clubs and Samir's like over here getting bullied. I'm like, hey man, okay. They're like, all right.
At the club playing MTG in the corner.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cool.
I think that's our show.
Oh, right. We don't have someone to
Did
close
everyone
it.
mention what they're playing for
Ah,
next
we're
week?
lost without Amelia. Fuck, he should be here. Cool. I guess.
I like how we sent the person with the worst memory and attention span to San Diego Comic-Con. It's like, why?
Yeah. Well, he went there out of his own
Bet.
volition. Well, actually, I don't know. This is kind of a birdwalk, Bobby. I thought you liked to go to Comic-Con. Did you check it out this year?
I walk down, I usually go down there. I do a lap. I don't actually go to the event, but I just kind of walk around and look at stuff. And there's all sorts of things going on around town. Like, so I'll go to like the comedy club or the symphony or whatever, like whatever event's happening. But yeah, I don't know. It's like the first Comic-Con back since the writer's strike. So it's kind of a big deal, but it's actually hasn't been too crazy down here. Last year we also had a crazy homeless problem. It's gotten a lot better, so it's been nice that we've kind of returned to the normal.
Cool. Okay, well, I guess I'll do my best to close out the show. Speaking for Nick, Bobby, Emilio, who is absent, not here, and myself, I don't know, Comic-Con titties, is that a good one? Yeah.
There are a lot there.
Bye.